What's up, everybody? It's Draymond Green. Make sure you subscribe to the Volumes YouTube channel below so you don't miss any more of this great content going forward. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Draymond Green Show. I'm honored to have this next guest. It's actually a guy who, when I came into the league, I came in hot. I came in talking a bunch of junk to everybody. And to be honest, a lot of guys really didn't embrace me. And it's like from the very first time, I'll never forget, he didn't drop me off with a couple moves, as we all know he do. I foul, he go to the free throw line, and he like embraced me. And that's something that I'll never forget because it was someone that I've always watched growing up as a child, looked up to, the way he carried himself. And, you know, when I say growing up as a child and not watch, you're going to hear this and be like, your game don't resemble his. But the professionalism and the way he went about his business and the way he carried himself is what I always honored. And then obviously dropping 50 like nobody's tomorrow, you got to respect that. Honored to have this next guest, CrawsOver, Jamal Crawford. What's up, my brother?
Man, that's a heck of an introduction, bro. I don't know if I can top that, but I appreciate it.
And it takes me back to when you started your journey. And it was at a time where you had the David Lees and the vets right there in front of you, right? But the way you grinded, the way you could look in your eyes, see you wanted more. Your goal wasn't just to make it to the NBA. Your goal was to, I'm here, I'm leaving my mark. And I mean, looking back at what you've done, like we got a Hall of Fame resume now. Like looking back,
crazy.
And you did it the hard way, like out the mud, and that's to be applauded and appreciated, and to be a source of inspiration. You know what I mean? For all the kids out there, everybody can't be Steph, everybody can't be Clay, but if you grind and commit to it and put your heart and soul into it, who knows the magic can happen. So it's dope to be out here with you, bro.
I appreciate that. As you know, you come into these interviews and you kind of got these lists of questions. And one thing that I've learned in doing this is just like you follow the interviewee. And so you just mentioned something about getting it out the mud. And it's something that I have a lot of respect for you for. And being from Seattle, the way that you've given back to that community and how strong the basketball presence is there. You know, when you're talking Rainier Beach, your high school, you, Terrence Williams, Kevin Porter Jr., Dejounte Murray, like the pipeline, you go back, you start a Pro-Am in Seattle, like, and everything that you're trying to give back, where does that come from? I know Seattle's a hotbed for talent, but where does like you wanting to give so much back to that community come from? Because I think it's honorable what you do in the community.
I appreciate that. I think my sister told me something a long time ago, and this when I was a kid. She said, if you ever come to a money or fame, whatever it is, you become a bigger version of what you already were. So if you were an asshole, you're going to be a bigger asshole because you have more money. If you were a giver, you're going to give more because you have more access to give. And so for me, I didn't try to live up to that, but she kind of explained to me what I was feeling, what I was thinking. When I didn't have nothing and I had $10, if I saw someone on the street who had nothing, I'd give them, $5 on it and be like, I'll figure it out later. That's just always been in me. And so fast forward when I had the opportunity to see the impact it could have. You know what I mean? And Doug Christie did it for me. I don't deserve all the credit. He did it for me. And I used to work out with him. And he'd be like, man, come work out with me. I didn't have his phone number, Dre. I didn't have his phone number. I didn't have no contact. I never asked him for $1. I just wanted what he had so bad. I said, just teach me. Just like show me how to be a pro. He was the first person I've seen wearing ankle weights training or having a foam roll. This back in '96. He had a foam roll.
Wow.
Handheld foam roll. And so I'm like, oh, that's what pros do. They're in the best shape. They take care of themselves, right? And so I'm looking at all these things and collecting data. And for me, that was everything that changed my life. So I said, you know what? If I make them do the same thing for the next one. And that next one was B-Roy. That next one was Isaiah or Nate or Terrence or Kevin Porter, Dejounte or Paolo or Rodney Stucker, whoever it is. And all of them didn't make it to the NBA. And I take just as much pride in those ones too, because they became successful, citizens in whatever they chase, whatever dreams they chase. And so I knew it changed my life, and I knew I wanted to have that impact, and now they're doing it. Zach LaVine, as a kid in ninth grade, you can call him and say, can you break down this film for me? Or can I work out with you? Right, and those things are life-changing, So I just think that's what makes it different. It's not the crab in the bucket mentality. It's more kind of ecosystem we create.
I think that's incredible, man. You sitting here naming all these guys. I don't think, like, when you start talking of LA, Seattle, Chicago's, and you say, put a team together from those cities, New York, Michigan. Michigan
yeah.
is like, when you put a team together from Seattle just by itself, that team probably can compete with any team you could put together in the NBA. Where does that come from? Like, how did Seattle become that in basketball to where y'all just spewing out talent like that?
That damn rain day when we out there, we in the gym. It's always rain up in Seattle. It's always,
what outside. So we definitely just in the gym all the time. We lock in the gym. And for Paolo specifically, I'll use him as an example because he's the last one. He walked the same streets. He was in the same community center. So it was nothing for him to see us all in the summer run. Come on, jump in the run. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I had one run. I had Dejounte,
Kyrie
Irving,
Zach LaVine, Matisse Thybulle, Spencer Hawes,
Mr. Late Great Bill Russell, the icon on the side watching. I got a young Paolo Banchero playing at 16 years old in this run. So for him, it was nothing to see these things, to be exposed to it. And then take it further, my son and my nephew can be like, man, I know, forget you guys. That's Paolo. That's the high school star. I can accomplish that one day. He's reachable. And Paolo understands, and all of us understand our responsibility. So we all support each other. Like if Dejounte got a backpack giveaway, 10 of us are going. If Nate Robinson has a bowling tournament, 10 of us are going. And that's just what it is. I think that's what makes it special. When I was in Chicago, Tim Hardaway was over here.
Mike Finley was over here.
Juwan Howard was over here. I saw them in the gym together, but I didn't see too much else where they really were collabing on stuff. And that's what we do.
Now, that's incredible. And at your Pro-Am this summer, Dejounte, who is very prideful and I mean, extremely pride. I love Dejounte, man.
He's a guard version of you with that pride. He's the same cloth.
Hey, I love Dejounte. When I first saw him as a rookie, I'm watching him play, and I went up to him after the game and I said, yo, we couldn't stop you. The only thing that I could do to stop you was just sag off. Work on your jump shot, young fella. You work on your jump shot, you're going to be an all-star in this league, and I'll never forget that. And we've built a relationship that, like, I am close to Dejounte. I'm only close to a few guys in this league like I'm close to Dejounte. Like, I got so much love for him and love seeing him doing well. When he made All-Star last year, I felt like that was my first time making All-Star. But at the Pro-Am this summer, he and Paolo and Dejounte being as prideful as he is, you come in this league, you're the number one pick. I need to see that. And they had their thing. It spews over to social media. Did you have to step into that as the big brother once it spews over to social media and talk to them like, hey, man, we ain't doing that. We going to compete. But at the same time, we got to have each other back because that's how you keep that pipeline and that tightness going.
What you just said was the exact message. I'll tell you a funny story. I was in Dallas.
I was coaching my son and coaching the kids. And my phone on the plane, and my phone is like text messages going crazy. Man, they got into it, this and that. You going to have to Jay Prince this and step in. I'm like, man, look, they gonna be fine. And I talked to both of them the exact same way, the same message you said. And they both felt how they felt because they're both competitive. But at the end of the day, kudos to both of them because they understood the big picture and what we've all created. Like we've all played a part in making this place something special, because we're not like other cities where sometimes you root for a dude, but you don't root for him to do better than you. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. Like, I root for him, but I ain't rooting for him that much. You know what I mean? And it's different up here. And so they understood the big picture. They worked through it. And to see both of them, you got an all-star in Dejounte, a future all-star in Paolo, and a whole generation of kids following both of them. And those two have led with that responsibility. It's unbelievable. That's a big brother to both of them. I love to see, we can have differences. That's what big brothers and little brothers do. That's what we do. That's just what it is. But we can work through it and continue to move forward and push the culture forward.
Absolutely. I think that's amazing, man. And just speaking of Seattle, you leave Seattle, you go, not even going to mention the school you go to. That's a whole nother story.
Hold on. Matter of fact, I think I owe you a few hundred from a football bet years ago, but that's not important right now. How do you not go mention Michigan? You got to mention, or you ain't got to say the word if you don't want to. Say
Michigan State?
Something.
Michigan State?
Nah. See, I got love for Big Homie Mateen. When I see Mateen and Mo Pete and the Flintstones, I acknowledge that. You ain't going to acknowledge Fab, and what we got going, man.
As I got so much love for you and so much love for Jalen and C. Webb,
There you go.
Manny Harris, Deshaun Sims, the list goes on and on. There's nothing but love for you guys. But the school, oh my God, man, it hurts. It hurts.
It hurts.
Now,
it hurts.
You go off to school and right off the bat you get suspended. What was your suspension for, and what was your mindset once you received that suspension?
So, Dre, coming up, I wasn't like, nobody had ever heard about me until I was 16. So I was the kid. You know how they be like, man, there's a kid right now busting his ass at a playground. They got to kick him off the court, working on his game, and you here sleeping, whatever, a coach tried to use as motivation.
I was that kid. So nobody knew about me until I was 16. I was still working on my game. I was in the backyard. I was
like really getting better. And so once I jumped on the scene,
and I had a lot of making up to do. I was ineligible my freshman year of high school. I was ineligible my sophomore year of high school. I was ineligible my junior year of high school. I made varsity as a freshman.
Doing the wrong things, being with the wrong, crowd and all that. But as fate would have it, I started getting help when I moved back to Seattle from LA. And that was with tutors, with clothes. Like, we don't come for nothing. But the help I was getting wasn't from like a booster. It wasn't from alumni. It wasn't from an AAU coach. I wasn't even on the scene like that. And when I went to Michigan,
they said I broke a law of amateurism. And I had never even heard of that. I'm like, well, hold on. This guy doesn't fit into any one of those modes. He wasn't just giving me money saying, here, go flash and do what you want to do. Like, this is stuff that's helping me
be a productive young man. And so I got suspended.
They actually dug into that, saw I did nothing wrong, and I got
reinstated. But at that point, I put my name in the draft. When I put my name in the draft, honestly, I wasn't even putting it in to leave. I just wanted to go through the process. I thought I would leave the next year. Like, let me just go through it, see what I'm going to be up against.
At that time at camp, dudes were still playing. Like, the top dudes were still playing. So I went there and killed camp. And that's when my name went from second round and not being drafted to now I'm a lottery pick in 2 days. In 2 days, right? And so from there, it was so cold. I was on such like a roll that
they was like, look, teams like, you ain't even got to work out when you come here. Just come talk to us. I'm like, yeah. Joe D in Detroit. He was the one I went and saw. Mark Cuban in Dallas. Like, I was going different places. And they were just saying, look, just talk to us and we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's what happened. Like, it was a dude that had nothing to do with basketball. To this day, he has nothing to do with basketball. And they kicked me out for that.
That's incredible, man. And now, you look at, the landscape. These kids getting rich nowadays, which I absolutely love. Like, you got guys literally going back to school making $2 and $3 million, which I think is incredible. Yeah. But what do you actually think of the NIL? Because, as good as it is for a kid to go make $2-3 million and still be in college, there are some downsides of it as well. And I don't mean downsides as far as like kids having money and they can't manage it. People have money and can't manage it every day. So don't give me they're in trouble because they can't manage money. That's bullshit. But, where you can't really go for the A-list type companies because the school has a deal with them and those different things. What do you make of the NIL nowadays, especially as someone who essentially, you didn't even get knocked for you selling your likeness, but yet someone that got knocked and faced the NCAA in a different way than most do.
You know what's crazy, Dave? If
the NIL was around 20, 25, 30 years ago, think about how many kids would have stayed in school. Think about how much more money the NCAA would have made, because now you're removing the pressure of this kid. Like, damn, I got to help provide for my family. Damn, I can't even get extra money to go to a movie because that's against the rules. I ain't got it. Like, so if it's handled right, they have the right, parents and support system around them, it's handled right, you can get that money and still not be in a rush to go to the league. You can not be in a rush to make some of the decisions that are made. Like, you can set up shop, depending on how much it is, you may be able to set up a small business. You can be able to set up stuff later if basketball doesn't work out, but you're not the pressure of my mom's lights may get cut off. Like, we got to pick between paying the light bill, eating, and my sister's school tuition, whatever it might be. It removes that pressure. So I think if NIL was in, a lot of people, Chris Webber, those guys would have left early. You know what I'm saying? Like, people that come from hard beginnings. So I like it. And like you said, there's some downsides to it too. But like anything, it's how do you navigate what it is? Like, even the NBA, right, in sports, we all know if we weren't in the position
that we were in and some things that we may have done happen, it wouldn't be a story. But since we're in this position and we have this light on us, it's going to be talked about. So it's just about how you navigate it, how you handle it. And there's no perfect answer, but I would have loved to see it. I mean, I had my own student section at Michigan. The crowd had their student section, our school, and I had a headband called the Crawford Crazies. At that time,
true story, I'm not saying this to brag, I was at school
with Tom Brady. I was more popular on campus than he was at that time because Drew Henson, the quarterback, was there, and he was kind of like the guy. So, yeah, it's just crazy to see how things are formulated.
That's crazy. I think just like sharing a campus with Tom Brady and being big, like that's mind-blowing in itself. But in the same sense, you're a guy that went and had the NBA career that you had, you know, a superstar in your own right. And I think, you know, when you look at like a lot of things in the NBA is narrative driven. I don't think that there's a player in the NBA that played with you or against you that did not think you were a superstar. But by media terms, you know, right, the narrative wasn't that Jamal Crawford was a superstar. But there wasn't one guy that had to guard you, that played with you, played against you, that didn't think in their mind that you were a superstar. You carried yourself like that, you played like that, you put up those type numbers. And I just want to say as an opponent, like, bro, I appreciated you and everything that you brought to the game. And most importantly, bigger than anything, the love that you brought to the game of basketball. Like, people play this game, man, and they play it because of what it can do for them. And I don't knock those people, but the love that you brought to the game of basketball and that you showed was good for young guys like myself. Because you get in this league, man, it's so much going on. And just to see someone with a genuine love, like, it rubbed off on myself, but it rubbed off on a lot of guys, bro. So I just want to say thank you because it was absolutely incredible.
That, bro. For real, I appreciate that. You gotta think, when I was coming up, like, it was like, man, that and-one shit ain't gonna work in college. How's that gonna work? How you gonna get to the league with that and-one style of play, right? And so I'm like, man, I'm just gonna master. I'm not trying to be fancy. I'm really just playing off of instinct. I'm just playing. So I'm just gonna, like, you see Steph every day, right? Like, Steph, I don't think Steph is trying to be fancy or he's just playing.
He's just in his own zone, just hooping. That's just how he plays, right? And so for me, I navigated so much. And
I'm not trying to brag whatsoever, but I think I kind of helped bring the street aspect of it, the street ball culture, to the league. It didn't change.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like, some people get to the league, they play one way on the playground, they play one way. Right? Like, for me, I was like,
this is who I am. I'm going to play the same LA Fitness or 20,000 people. That's just what it is. So, and I'm an acquired taste. I'm not for everybody. And I get that too. And I love that because you don't want, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want all the same thing. You bring a whole different aspect to the game. Right? And so
I'm thankful for it. I always felt confident in my skills.
I always tried to do things the right way. I always loved the game. Like, that was always first for me. Even being 40 years old, trying to play basketball. It was just love that just pushed me. I remember when I was a kid, I was like, man, I played the NBA to play in the NBA. Like, I didn't care about nothing but playing. Like, I just love hoop. You know what I mean? And that's now coaching my son, right, and doing TV
and talking the game
gives me a whole nother life as far as like how I feel still connected to the game. And it's unbelievable. And I appreciate you because my son held on to the words you told him in the finals as well. Like, he talks about it all the time. So I appreciate that, bro. Because to me, to him, I'm just dad. So he ain't listening to me. But you know what I mean? Like, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. No, and I still follow along on the internet, like, and watch all his highlights and anything that I can see. Young boy special, man.
Yeah.
He's special.
Yeah, he gets the big picture. He gets the big picture. Like, I told him, I said, look,
we're in this space now. They're going to rank you 500. They're going to rank you 1. They're going to rank you. That's not our end game. We don't care what it is. Just have tunnel vision, and we're playing the long game. Just keep building the right way.
It's incredible. What do you make? I got a couple CBA questions for you because I think one of them really will hit you, and it'll be the second question. But what do you make, number one, of the one and done rule? Possibly it's going to be changed back. Like, it's going to be changed to where you can go back out of high school. What are your sentiments around the one and done rule coming back, or being non-existent? I say.
Yeah, I would love to see it non-existent. Like, some of the greatest players we've ever seen touch a basketball have been kids that did not go to college. From LeBron James to Kobe Bryant to Kevin Garnett. Like,
some of our favorite players ever were ready. You know, like who are we to say, oh, this guy's not ready? Shouldn't. Actually, if he is ready, I want him to come learn from Draymond. I want him to come be around Clay. I want him to come be around Steph and Jordan and all these guys, Wiggs and all these guys, professionals. I didn't learn to be a pro until I had pros around me. When I got the Oakleys, when I got Scottie Pippen, when I got Rick Brussels, when I got Kendall Gill. Now, young fella, being on time is being 2 hours early. Not eating McDonald's after games. Like dressing the right way, presenting yourself the right way, handling your business. And I think even if they're not technically, quote unquote, ready to contribute on the court day one, their acceleration process would be so much faster. Think about Luka. Like these dudes have been playing against pros for years. So when they are actually playing against pros, come on, bro. So now they're actually playing against pros, the transition is so much smoother. That shot value's gone. The first time I jumped on the court in the preseason, I played against Latrell Sprewell. And I was like, damn, that's free. You know what I mean? And just that stuff is gone by the time they get there if it's handled the right way. And that's why I think vets are so important. Vets are invaluable. Vets help set careers. Vets help the next 10 or 15 years after they're gone for what you're doing with your foundation and your organization.
100%. And I was a guy lucky to have great vets. I had Jermaine O'Neal, Jared Jack, David Lee, Carl Landry, Bogut. Like I had guys that really showed me the way. Richard Jefferson. And it was huge for me. And it's funny that you just said that because it actually leads into my next question, which is I personally think, and the CBA, I think the CBA hurt guys like yourself, whereas all the teams start going younger because the minimums was less and the money was less.
Cheap
and
labor.
The tax situations. Exactly.
Right.
And so teams start going younger and start cutting vets out. I think we're now starting to see the repercussions of that. Yeah. I talked to Andre not long ago, and Andre said, man, basketball has gotten so dumb so fast. And I think, and that's in large part due to the CBA and vets getting cut out and not being able to teach young guys the way. And I also think it affected you towards the end of your career, whereas you could still go out and get 20 on any given night and yet not getting signed due to a tax situation from a team. So what do you make of that and how the CBA kind of start cutting vets out of the league?
It's disheartening, one. And I would have said this if I was in my prime.
Like, because I just know the effect that vets play. They're invaluable. If I want to be a better photographer,
how can I not? And I have Andy Bernstein, who shoots for the NBA, who shot for 4 years, saying, I'll mentor you. I'll show you the way. I'll help you. If I'm going to Microsoft and Steve Ballmer's there at the time, how am I not? And he's saying, I want to help your career. How can we not take that knowledge? So now the vets that come in, if they're not coming to your team or teams that have been around for a while, their vet is 23. What's he going to show that 21-year-old? Like what are we talking about? And it's hurting basketball because, like you said. And now as a coach especially, because I'm so into it, right? Like, it's crazy. But now as a coach, seeing good basketball is like coach's porn for me. Giving up a good one to a great one. Seeing the IQ, seeing the read, I tell my team, I said, man, y'all understand?
Golden State is like organized chaos. They saying random so much, but you can't play random unless you have Dre as a quarterback. And you have Steph and these guys making these split-second decisions where it's almost like,
it's so random, but it's so organized. But you can't play that way if you don't have a high IQ. You can't play with them.
But that's the beauty in it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. It's almost like if you're like with Pacino and De Niro in a movie, right? And they got a script, but they just start ad-libbing and they're going off each other. That's where the magic happens. The beauty in it, right? And that's what you guys do. And these young fellas will never understand that if they don't have vets like breaking down film with them. I have vets. Scottie Pippen used to watch film with me. He would break down like, look, this is what you're looking at. You should be looking at that. You should be looking at that. I'm like, oh, okay. And there's joy in that because that's some things we've never been taught with the AAU system. Not really caring about wins and losses because you're playing 4 games a day. Not caring because you're getting so much attention at 10 years old, right? Like, so it's a whole like system. I'm scared, to be honest with you, if vets aren't in the game or around the game, calling shots in the organization, what the next 10 to 15 years look like.
Facts. No, I agree, man. Just so y'all know, listening to this podcast, there will be a part 2 because there's no way this conversation.
I got a couple questions for you. Can I ask you a couple questions?
Absolutely, because we're running this back. I'm not going to even try to get to every question.
CrawsOver
just took the job on TNT. We got to do a part 2. But yeah, I would love the question.
My question for you is, and I'm torn because I know you guys have a switch. I do.
You guys know it.
Are you guys going off of that? Like, we know we have a switch?
Because what I'm seeing is sometimes you guys, like last night, you get the switch and you can do it for spurts, but you guys have enough energy to sustain it and be able to do it. That's part one. And then the second part is, if you can get that switch, I still have you guys in the playoffs. I still have you guys come out the way. Like, so is it the regular season versus the playoffs in that switch? Frank, get me inside the locker room. What's going on? What do you think?
I think we definitely know and understand that we have a switch, but our struggles this year hasn't been because we're not flicking the switch. Our struggles have been, and by the way, this is why you are who you are. This is why you're great when I watch you on TV, and you're going to continue to get better, is because you can get people to say things that they probably wouldn't say to anyone else. And so here I am about to say something that I would not say to anyone else.
On the Draymond Green Show, don't forget, tap in. Got to tap in.
Which is, I think a lot of our shortcomings this year is my fault. Why is it my fault? Because I have not been the leader that I am and that I need to be for this team. And the reason that I have not been that leader is also my fault, right? Like, I think we all know what happened with your young Wolverine brother, JP. And so for me, I've kind of had to walk a fine line of not really being Draymond. And when I'm not really being myself, that's not the best thing for this team. And so where we've struggled is accountability. And accountability on the defensive end, accountability on the offensive end. You know the accountability that it takes to have a winning team. And that's my role on this team. And I fell short in that area. And that's something that I have to be better at, that I have to get back. But when I look at our struggles, it's not just because we haven't flipped the switch. No, it's because guys haven't been, I being the number one culprit, who they need to be in fulfilling their roles on this team. And like I said, I'm number one because it all starts with leadership. And although I'm not the only leader on this team, that's my area of leadership. See, I lead, Steph lead, Andre lead, Clay, but we all lead in different areas.
Different ways, right?
Yeah, and that's my area of leadership, and I have fell short there. So I don't think it's necessarily like we just not flipping the switch. I think it's more so we have to really dive in on those things, starting with me. I have to be better at holding guys accountable and not stay hostage to the preseason situation. You know, don't let it hold me hostage, because in turn it's going to hold this team hostage. So I have to come out of that. And I'm been working to come out of that, and I'm starting to turn the corner. And I feel like when I turn the corner there, it will allow everyone else to turn the corner. And so that's what I feel has been wrong. And I don't think it's just a flip. Although we can flip it, I don't think it's been that. I think it's been accountability, and it's all my fault.
I think what you just said, and that's why you are who you are. Because there's so many stars, superstars, Hall of Famers
who don't hold that accountability, especially self-accountability. Because the most honest moments come when it's you and God. Man.
Facts.
You know, because you can't lie to either one.
Facts.
And what you just did right there is exactly why you guys will flip this switch. That's the perfect way to end part one. I don't know what you got going later on tonight, but we need this part two today. I don't know what you got going.
We can do that today. You let me know your schedule. We'll hop back on tonight, but we still going to send it out to y'all. Part one and part two. And just so y'all know, we going to shoot it tonight. I appreciate you, my brother. What's up, everybody? It's Draymond Green. Make sure you subscribe to the Volumes YouTube channel below so you don't miss any more of this great content going forward.